He was about 12 years old, a sturdy boy with untidy black hair and shining black eyes. He had fine features and a clear brown skin, but his hands and feet were rough and scratched. He was barefooted. He stood in front of his house on the hill opposite the mountain. Between the boy and the river stood a mountain. The boy was young and the river was small, but the mountain was big. It was a thickly forested mountain that hid the river. He had never seen the river with his own eyes, but from the villagers he had heard of it, of the fish in its waters and of its rocks. He wished to touch the water and know it personally. His parents had gone to visit their relatives. Then the boy decided to go to the river. He wrapped the loaf of bread and left home. The path to the river dropped steeply into the valley. It was frequently used by the villagers, the woodcutters, milkmen, and mule drivers. The boy passed a woodcutter and asked him how far it was to the river. The path was steep, and the boy had to run most of his time. It was a dizzy, winding path. The hill was covered with lush green ferns. The trees were wound in creepers, and a great wild dahlia suddenly reared its golden head from the leaves and ferns. He met a girl who was coming from the opposite direction. She held a long curved knife with which she had been cutting grass. The boy ran down the path. A parrot suddenly screeched. A trickle of water came from the hillside, and the boy stopped to drink. He saw another boy ahead of him, driving a few goats down the path. He unwrapped his loaf of bread and broke it in halves, offering one portion to the village boy. They walked on together and began talking and talking. But after some time, his companion had to diverge along another path. His own home was also hidden from view by the side of the mountain. He walked on along the hot, dusty, stony path. He walked past mud huts and terraced fields. Now there was only forest and sun and loneliness. Now there was no man or any sign of man's influence, only silence. As the boy rounded a sharp bend, the silence broke into sound. A sudden roaring sound, the sound of the river. Far down in the valley, the river tumbled over rocks. The boy slipped and stumbled, but still he ran. Then he was ankle deep in the painfully cold mountain water. Wow, what a wonderful sight! The water, blue and white.